Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Coach Pete, and you're listening to Dynamic Destiny Radio on Transformation Talk Radio. Each first and third Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, we'll have some of the best topics and real world examples to help you get unstuck and keep moving toward your destiny. You can listen to the show on Facebook Live, your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, and my website, petecoaching.com. Hey, today we have a really timely show. It's the end of the year and it's the end of the decade. And normally that's a time when people do a lot of reflection. You see these best of lists, the year in review, the decade in review, and people start to get ready to maybe set some resolutions or set some new goals. Reflection, I am all for it. In fact, I have my coaching clients do quite a bit of reflection. But what if, as you're reflecting, you don't like what you see? Maybe you've fallen short of some of your goals. Maybe you're in a place in life that maybe I never expected to be here. This is the pits. You haven't seen the changes that you were hoping for by this time in your life. I think that's more common that people like to actually talk about or to think about or to admit, because we always hear about success going on to the next thing. You can be anything you want to be, but hey, sometimes it's just like you're stuck. And today, that's what we're going to talk about: what to do when your life doesn't measure up to your hopes and dreams. Okay, because that really can put you in a really bad mental space, and we don't want you to stay there. Okay, we want to give you some new mindsets, some approaches to change your perspective and get your happy back. Okay, so today we have some really powerful encouragement, real practical things that you can do to change your perspective, get you on back for your destiny. I also got some super powerful feedback from the last show. I'm going to share that with you a little bit. And as always, I'll be answering some of your questions. So, our quote for the day is: our greatest fear should not be fear of failure, but of succeeding at something that doesn't really matter. Ooh. Our greatest fear should not be fear of failure, but of succeeding at something that doesn't really matter. Something for you to chew on there. Hey, I mentioned I got some great feedback from our last episode on how to survive the 2020 presidential election. And I'd love to hear from you as well. Just to let you know, hey, when someone's running a radio show or a podcast, feedback from listeners is super helpful. It helps us stay on track, helps us know if we're connecting with you as our audience. And your questions and comments always give me material that I can make sure I'm targeting it right for you. So don't be shy. Send me an email, askpete@petecoaching.com. Okay, so here's some of that feedback. Brianna said, hi, Pete. I listened to your radio show episode, the one that you had Damaris as your guest, and I found it really helpful. I'd love to hear even more on this, especially on specific topics. I'm excited to use the resources you gave as well. Hey, well, you are welcome, Brianna. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Anthony said, lots of truth about today's younger generation, voter suppression, not listening only to your own tribe, etc. Good reminders like that the media cares about clicks, not your mental health. Many people get so wrapped up into it, they forget that media is a business. You're right, Anthony. We want you to always remind you of that. You are being played. The media makes money off of your attention and getting you upset. So watch out for that. They are not looking out for you. You got to look out for yourself that way. Sam Morrison, great information. I laughed and smiled many times while learning a lot of info to help me this campaign season. Oh, so glad, Sam. Hey, by the way, this show went nuts on YouTube. I mean, got like 7 times more views than normal. So that was awesome. And a lot of comments from YouTube. Love the vid. Really enjoyed the vid. This is a really good video. More vids, please. Thank you, YouTube watchers. And another comment on YouTube. Hey, Pete, Damaris was a great guest. I loved her energy, openness, opinions, and thought process. Damaris, I hope you know that your smile is a gift from God. Taking a regular media fast, including social media, is a great idea. Great show. Thanks. Hey, thanks everyone for your feedback. Keep that feedback coming. Again, that email address is askpete@petecoaching.com. Hey, just piggybacking again off the last episode because it was really popular, real timely. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, I need to hear this. We covered a lot of material. I encourage you to go, if you haven't heard that yet, go back and listen to it. It was how to survive and thrive during the whole next year is going to be the 2020 presidential election campaign, and things are going to get nasty. They already are, but it's going to get really intense. And we don't want you to get sucked into that. We want you to be able to kind of float above that and engage mindfully, if you will, or intentionally, and not just get sucked up in all the drama because it can really erode your mental state, and we don't want that for you. So, hey, so we covered a bunch of truisms to help level set and clear the air. Here's another one: is that we all are very quick to forgive the faults of our candidate and demonize the faults of our opponent. Bam. Okay, and it's true. You got it. Just admit it. I'm right there along with everybody else. When I see my candidate do something bad, I'm like, oh well, they didn't really mean it, or oh yeah, I'll overlook it. But if the opponent does something, and they could do the same thing, the opponent could do the same thing. My candidate, oh, they're terrible, and demonize it. Like it's bias, right? If you're rooting for a certain candidate, but just be honest with yourself. That's the point. Okay, the whole point is just realize that you will forgive the faults of your candidate. You're going to demonize the faults of your opponent. And that comes from a friend of mine, Lou Astuto. So, Louis, thank you for that. He posted that like 4 years ago, I think, but I remembered it really stuck in my head. Okay, here's a second truism, and this one's a little bit more about your own mental health. Okay, joining in the attacks. Okay, and we're talking especially mean spirited mocking does nothing to impact the outcome or sway someone else's opinion. Okay. But it does diminish you. Okay. You're the one who loses when you do that. Okay. And the reason why is because you become less of a person. Okay. You've just lowered yourself. And you're not being kind, you're not being a generous, upright person. You've gotten to the level of a mocker. And a mocker is just like any other just the general blah people who aren't lifting up the world and making it a better place. They just they're mean. Okay, mean meaning like there's a arithmetic term. Mean meaning it's like the average. Nobody expects anything more from it. Go ahead, join it. Don't be like that. Okay, rise above it. Okay, so stay away from the mocking. Make a decision this time around. If you did it in the past, just I'm not going to do that this time. Here's some help when you're tempted to do that. I have a free handout. It's a self-coaching guide that gives you an attitude check. So just go to my website, go to petecoaching.com/check. That's petecoaching.com/check. And it'll just run through and remind you, hey, are you getting off the rails too far here? Are you stretching the boundaries too much? Are you getting uncivil? Okay, it'll just be some good reminders. It's really easy to see how other people are misbehaving on the net. This helps you look at yourself and make sure you're not being part of the problem. Okay, because it's easy there's just this momentum, this current you can get swept up in. It'll help you fight that current. I have gotten a lot of good feedback on that particular guide. So I encourage you to check it out. Again, it's petecoaching.com/check. Okay, you're listening to Dynamic Destiny Radio with Coach Pete Cafarchio coming to you from New York City. And the question we're going to address today is, what do you do when the reality of your life doesn't measure up to your dreams and expectations? What do you do? Do you try harder? Hey, well, that's okay. That's good. Want to always encourage you to keep moving forward. Don't be a quitter. Do you just settle and lower your standards? Okay. There's some things that are beyond your control. And what do you do? Is that really oppressing you? Is it really you making you think your life is a waste? Okay. So when we come back from the break, we're going to unpack that. I'm going to give you some healthy ways to change your perspective and to get aligned so you can keep moving forward, but not have this crushing weight of I didn't hit my dreams, I didn't hit my goals. Don't go away. We're going to be right back, give you some really, really helpful, practical ways that you can change things. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Dynamic Destiny Radio with Coach Pete, where we unpack your powerful potential. You can learn more about me and get lots of helpful free content at petecoaching.com. So here's the question. What do you do when the reality of your life isn't living up to your hopes and dreams? Hey, this is the number one cause of unhappiness. Unrealistic, inflated expectations and entitlement can cause serious letdowns when they're not fulfilled. They're finding that this is especially true for millennials because they're led to believe that things can happen very quickly. And when they don't, where I should be, the expectations. Also, y'all have kind of some unhealthy icons like, hey, Zuckerberg, he's, this billionaire, and I can do it too. I can be anything I want, tons of opportunity. It affects everyone, but millennials especially get hit harder. Hey, we want to give you some different ways of looking at things and help you with some new mindsets. So I've got 7 of them queued up. Hopefully we can get through them, but these are really powerful. Here's the first one is update your dreams. Update your dreams. When you envisioned that iconic place that you would be, that a role, maybe something you'd be doing or something you would have or what your lifestyle might look like, you were a younger person with a limited view of the world, of business, of yourself, of the complexities of life. Okay. You've matured over time. Okay. Now your aspirations may need a maturity upgrade as well. New targets, more nuanced, okay? You're not the same person. So if you knew then what you know now, you may have picked some different goals. Okay, so go ahead, give yourself permission. You're not settling for something less. You're not a quitter, okay? You're setting more intelligent goals, okay? So it might be time to do a little pruning there and say, oh, you know what? When I was younger, I thought I wanted to do that. I had to change my mind because I understand things better now. It's not like the world came crashing in and destroyed your dreams. It doesn't have to be that way, okay? Just tweak them, okay? Make them more mature. So the question that I want you to ask yourself is, what's a goal that you had when you were younger that now needs an upgrade? Okay, what's a goal you had when you were younger? Now it needs an upgrade. I know for me, I wanted to be an inventor when I was younger, even partly in high school too. And that's what I wanted to do, I thought. And then, I have a real creative entrepreneurial side to me, and I like to figure out new ways of getting things done. That's still in me, but I just realized, hey, inventor as a career path, not really workable. It's not something I really wanted to pursue anymore. So it's okay to let those things go. They mature. Okay. Second, mindset shift. This one is super, super powerful. Separate your desire from the object of your desire. Separate your desire from the object of your desire. Okay, you have an ambition, you have desires, you have dreams, you want to be doing things. That's great. It's sparked by an inner, innate things that are inside of you, some things that God's planted in you. That is great. Then there's the object of your desire. Like, it looks like this. I'm living like this. I have this kind of role. I've accumulated these kinds of things. I've done these things. Your brain, your mind it makes those one and the same thing. It makes the desire and the object the same thing, but they're not the same thing. Okay. And so this is a really powerful tool, is to separate those, decouple them. Okay. Split them apart. This can be transformational. I want to give you some examples to show you how this works. I know a guy, his name's Bob. He went to college to be an athletic coach. He's real athletic. He got a degree, I think maybe in phys ed, but he wanted to be an athletic coach. He really, really wanted it, but he had an injury, and it kind of, practicalities of life. He really couldn't do that anymore. 10 years later, he's the head administrator at a 1,000 person church, overseeing multiple staff, and he's doing this all behind the scenes. And he's lamenting his life's outcome as he was praying to God. He's saying, "Oh, I wanted to be a coach." And then all of a sudden, God reminded him and spoke to him in prayer and said, "You're coaching a team now." Okay. And so that was hugely, hugely transformative for him. And I want to give you a process where you can possibly do the same thing. Okay, so the first thing is write down an unfulfilled dream or goal that you had. In Bob's case, that was he wanted to be an athletic coach. For you, it could be, I wanted to be living in this kind of house. Whatever it was, you write that down. Okay, the second part of this is, what is the core desire behind that goal? What's the core desire? Like, let me give you some examples. Like, it might have been significance, might have been achievement, my desire for maybe recognition, maybe competence. That's really I desire to be competent. I want to belong. That's my desire. I want stability. I want love. I want connection. Okay, it could be any of those things. Again, in Bob's case, his desires were to develop people, and he wanted to move a group of people forward with a strategy to hit some goals. Okay. So the third step, though, and you can get in touch with those desires, you might need some help on that. But the third step then on the desires is, what are some other ways that you can get that desire fulfilled? Healthy ways, people, healthy. Okay. We don't want you doing crazy things that'll mess your life up. But okay, so get in touch with the desire, separate it from what the object was, and there's other ways that those things can happen. I'll tell you another quick story because it's so powerful. Good friends of mine, Mike and Denise, both told me separately. This is crazy. They didn't even talk to each other. Separately, their desire was to start an orphanage. Now, we were living in the state of New Jersey, and it's actually illegal to start an orphanage in New Jersey. You can't do that anymore. And both of them said, that would have been a great dream, something we'd really, really like to do. And they were empty nesters by that point. Well, when we uncoupled it, that object of the desire from the real desire was to love kids, especially those who felt left out. Okay, we take a step back, and how were some other ways that could be fulfilled? They were already both doing that. Mike was an athletic coach for youth sports, and Denise was running a daycare center or pre-K. And both of them were very, very involved in kids. And they were, I helped them see it. You're the virtual orphanage, okay? You don't have a building attached to it. That's the object. But the core desire was actually already manifesting in the lives. Once they got clarity on that, they were able to push it even farther and pursue that even deeper. Hope that works for you as well. Okay, here's point number 3, ways to help change your mindset. Accept your limitations. Accept your limitations, okay? Be realistic. Humility is a good thing, especially when it comes to your areas of talent, okay? Your strengths and weaknesses in your life are by design from God, okay? If you could do everything, you wouldn't need anyone else, and you'd probably self-destruct, to be honest. But the fact that you have some strengths and talents that you can offer the world, and you have some areas of deficit where you're not talented, causes you to need other people. It causes you to connect with them, and it causes you to build community, connectedness, and relationship. And that's what we all need. Okay. So we're being drawn, and we have to work this out with other people in order to see fulfillment. So when you realize, oh, my dream that I wanted to have happen, it's not really working anymore. Well, accept some limitation. Maybe you kept running into, hey, I'm just not, I can't communicate it all that well. Oh, well, maybe you need to partner with somebody who's good at communication. I'm just not disciplined enough. Oh, maybe you need someone who's more structured that can work with you, or several people in different talent areas. We talked a lot about this in episode 5 with Dave Mead, who's the CEO of We Align. And I encourage you to go check that out. And here's an idea I got from a listener. They were so inspired by that episode. Now they're considering here for Christmas gifts, they're going to buy a coaching package around Clifton Strengths for their adult children. They're considering that anyway. So that's maybe something that you want to do. Think about it. It's last minute Christmas gifts. Hey, I'm going to give you the gift of insight or self-awareness and set you up with a coach. Take the Clifton Strengths and go through that. And that coach is going to help you discover the zone that you should be staying in and where you're going to need to partner with other people. Anyway, just a thought. If you're interested in that, just write to me, askpete@petecoaching.com. I'm Coach Pete. You're listening to Dynamic Destiny Radio, coming to you from New York City. We're talking about what to do when your life isn't living up to expectations. What happened to your hopes and dreams? When we come back from the break, I'm going to give you some more powerful ways to deal with this and a way to get you back on track to get your happy back. Okay, stay tuned. I'll be right back. We're back on Dynamic Destiny Radio with Coach Pete, where we unpack your powerful potential. As a reminder, you can catch archived episodes and get lots of helpful free content and resources at petecoaching.com. Today, we're talking about what you can do when you haven't realized the hopes and dreams that you had for your life. We've talked about 3 of them already. Number 4 that we're going to talk about now is get some help, okay? And by way of professional coaching. So what that can do for you, a coach can be a confidential partner that is 100% on your side, okay? No hidden agenda. They're just all there just for you. Great sounding board. They can help you see things from a different perspective. That'll help you get clarity, okay? And help you try some new ways of doing things. If you need some accountability, they can help you with that as well. Right? And keep you on track. They can manage that process. You're so close to it. You're so close to all the issues in your life. A coach has an outside perspective and can help you manage and keep moving things forward. So anyway, that's something for you to consider. You can reach out to me if you want, petecoaching.com/contact. And on that page, you can set up a free discovery call with me, about 30 minutes. You can see the power of coaching working in your life. And no pressure, right? I'm not going to try to sell you anything. We're just going to talk, and you're going to see how coaching can work. And if it's for you, then you can take it farther. Okay, but that's one thing that you can do when you have that overwhelming feeling of, man, my life it's just not what I wanted it to be. Well, let's get you back on track. Okay. All right. Number 5, also super powerful, transformational, is be thankful. Okay, be thankful. Entitlement, meaning I deserve better than this. And self-pity, poor me, things haven't worked out the way they should have for me, will devour your happiness every single time. Okay, these are your 2 big enemies. And I see these, especially in an affluent society, a well-developed culture like we have in the U.S. or in Western countries. We've gotten so much, we've gotten so used to it that we expect more and more and more. And when they don't line up the way we think, because we had so much handed to us already, we go, oh, I deserve so and so, or poor me, oh, nothing's working out. It's not giving me exactly the way I want. We turn into whining. Okay. You have to identify these. You have to root them out of your life. Okay. They will make you a victim instead of a victor. We want you to be the victor, not the victim. Okay. Entitlement and self-pity. And I'll tell you, they're a two-edged sword for this reason. In addition, they steal your happiness. They can put you in a really bad mood, bad funk, and they're deceptive because they blind you and you can't see them operating in your life. You get really, really focused on what you don't have. Or you get really focused on the injustice or how things didn't work for you. You don't see that the issue isn't what you don't have or the injustice. The issue is your state of entitlement or your state of self-pity. That's the real enemy. Okay. In other words, you'll be miserable, but you won't know why. That's why they're doubly bad. Okay. So what's the antidote to that is be thankful. Be thankful. Okay. And the way to get started on this, just start with some small things and start. I'll give you an example. I live in New York City, okay, and love the subway system when it works. When it doesn't, it can be a real hassle. And if there's a delay, a glitch, a signal malfunction, or the cars are really crowded, instantly something in me and all the people around me wants to go into complain mode. It's really easy to get swept up in that when you see everybody go, oh, this collective sigh, okay, of oh, this stinks. And I see people start to light up the social media like, oh, New York City subway system stinks. Okay. I can do that, or I can choose to be thankful. I can be thankful that I have access to one of the best public transport systems in the world. It's very inexpensive compared to owning a car. I've done both. It's way more productive for me to travel on the subway because I can read and listen to podcasts and get things done versus driving. So I can always find something to be thankful for. Okay. I got a question from a regular listener, and she asked a question. She said, "Pete, for some reason, oh, I'm sorry, Pete. For some people, gratitude seems to be part of their DNA. It seems to come naturally for them, not so much for others. If I want to be more grateful and have more gratitude in my life, how do I cultivate that?" Oh, mwah, mwah, I love that question. What an awesome question. And it's time for our Make It Real challenge. Okay. This week's Make It Real challenge comes from a friend of mine and my former pastor, Danny Best. It's a super simple exercise that he developed, and I love it. So I want to pass it on to you. He says, I recognized I had a pattern of complaining in my life. So to deal with that, I would each morning when I woke up, I would write down 10 things each morning that I was thankful and grateful for. And I wouldn't let myself repeat any items for a week. Okay. So by the end of the week, he's got 70 different items. He said the overall effect was it made me realize the breadth of things I was grateful for, and also the granularity, forcing himself to come up with fresh things every day. It was hard to find things to be thankful for. At first, it made me dig and focus, which put my mindset in the right place. And he said the key is to keep it going, though, because it takes time to set in and you really start to see the complaining kind of wash out and the thankfulness take over. So it's a habit to develop. Hey, the Make It Real challenge is do this, do it for a month. Find a friend and do it together for some accountability. You don't have some accountability, write to me. I'll be your accountability partner, at least for the first 5 people that write to me. I'll do it. Happy to do it. Um, After you do the challenge, write back to me and tell me what you've discovered. Ask Pete at petecoaching.com. Maybe I'll read it on the air next time, if you have a great story there. So we've been talking on the show about what you can do when your life doesn't add up to your dreams and your goals. Okay. Number 6 in the list is get your eyes off yourself. Okay. Look, your life purpose is not primarily meant for your own gratification. Okay. It's to do something for others by serving them and making the world a better place. Okay. So if you're super focused just on you, how are things working out for me? My goals aren't here. I know I'm going to go listen to more self help and I'm going to do all these other things. Me. It's still all about you. And I'll tell you, even if you did get those goals realized, it's satisfying, but it doesn't go real deep because you have to just keep filling that. When you reorient yourself to serving other people, it changes everything, right? It's way more satisfying, way more gratifying. So that's a check for you to check out here. Get your eyes off yourself and serve others. One of the things I love to do is there is a nonprofit here in New York City. It's called New York City Relief, and it's essentially a mobile. a bus kind of a thing to serve essentially homeless people, but serves really all kinds of people that are in need. And they pull up the same time every week in different locations in the city, and it pops up, and they're serving free hot soup, hot chocolate in the winter, or juice in the summertime, bread. In the back of the bus, they have socks, toiletry kits toiletry kits, and they'll pray with people who want prayer. And in the front, they have counseling services to help people get shelter, job, job rehab if they need that, and or detox. Okay, if they're struggling with drug problems. I love this organization. I support them financially, and I volunteer with them. I'm doing that about once a month now, and I've been at several different locations: Newark, Chelsea, Harlem, and now I go to the South Bronx because my church does that once a month. I love this organization. I'll tell you, first of all, they do a great job of helping volunteers get plugged in and make a difference. But what happens to me, I mean, I do it, this sounds kind of selfish, but I actually do it for me because I need to get in touch with real problems, like not my problem of, oh, I didn't make enough money, like to feel really great about myself this month. Like I'm in touch with people who don't have maybe a place to sleep, or who have to supplement just to get through each month. And I sit down and we make friends with them, and we hear their stories, and we connect, and we realize we're all human beings. And I'm like, I am thankful. Okay. And I'm realizing, hopes, dreams, aspirations. These people are like, their hope, dreams, and aspirations is make it through to the next paycheck or the next welfare check. Okay. I need to be in touch with those things. It centers me. And I always notice this kind of coattails from that for the next week or so. I will start paying a lot more attention to homeless people on the street or other people in poverty. And I can imagine a lot better what they might be going through. It makes me more human. Okay. So I would just encourage you, serve other people. If you can't naturally do it on your own, or just be helpful, that's a big thing. Go visit people in a nursing home, go do something. Or if you need an organization like I do to help me to get plugged in, do that. But do something to get your eyes off yourself. It'll put things into perspective, and you'll realize the big picture of things. Okay. You are listening to Dynamic Destiny Radio with Coach Pete. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, I'll give you one more thing to get your happy back on track. Most powerful thing, actually. So don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Dynamic Destiny Radio with Coach Pete, the show where we unpack your powerful potential. Today, we've been talking about what you can do when you're faced with that feeling of failure, that your life just isn't living up to those hopes and dreams and expectations that you had for yourself. To recap, we've been addressing different mindsets that you can use. But to recap, number one was update your dreams now that you understand the world better. Second, separate your desire from the object of your desire. Third, accept your limitations. Fourth, partner with a professional coach. Fifth, practice thankfulness. Sixth, serve others. And here's our seventh one. This will be our final one for the day. Let that condition, that condition of I'm not living up, let it remind you of your own personal brokenness. Well, that sounds like a bummer, Pete. I thought this was supposed to make me get my happy back. Well, bear with me, okay? Hey, I love self-help. Okay. I built my career on this, Coach Pete, and I love to encourage people, and I love to help people get unstuck and adopt new mindsets, but it has limits. Okay. And where that limit hits is you. Okay. Your own personal brokenness. Maybe you've tried a lot of different things. You've tried a lot of different self-help, and these things do help. They will help you. Okay. But they kind of run their course after about maybe 6 months, maybe even up to about a year and a half. Yeah, I've been corporate. I try to do mindfulness or different things like that. They're great. They can help. But at the end, you're still you, and you still might have that emptiness inside. And the reason why is because, like every human being, you have a problem called sin. Okay. It's a condition inside of you, and you can't save yourself from it. Okay. You can't self-help your way out of it. There's something inside you at your core that wants to be selfish, that wants to do wrong things, and screw everybody else. Okay. Not all the time, but it happens. Okay. It's in you, it's in all of us, and you can't save yourself from it. You need a savior. Okay. You can try to substitute that. In fact, I just heard on Sunday somebody talked about the idol of reinvention. Okay. What we try to do is like, I can be anybody I want. I can reinvent myself. Okay. But then you start hitting that limit. Like, you know what? Everywhere I go, there I am. I still have the me inside me that I don't like. Okay. The part of me that gets selfish, the part of me that is sinful. I mean, that's the word I want to use right now. So you need a savior, and I just want to encourage you. That's what Jesus came to do. If you're listening to this live, this is the Christmas season, and that's when we celebrate, Christ's birth. But that's what Jesus came to do. He lived. He came from God the Father. He came to earth, and he lived a perfect life. He willingly sacrificed his life so that you could have his benefits. Okay. If you're willing to turn away from your sin and your selfishness and choose to believe him and trust him, he promised he will forgive your sins, and he'll actually come by his spirit and live inside of you and start to change you. Okay, that's outrageous promise, but it's true. And I love, one of my favorite Christmas carols is "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," because it's a peace on earth, mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled, and that's because of Jesus. Jesus came so we could get along with God, and we could make up. He took care of the sin problems, so we could have a relationship with God. This is real. These aren't just outrageous claims. It completely changed my life. I'm here as a testimony to say that coming into relationship with God the Father through Jesus completely changed my life. I was raised in a religious family. We were raised pretty strict Catholic. I talked about my family story before. There's 8 kids in my family, and um, we're God fearing and generally moral. But as I got older into my teen years and stuff, there was the emptiness, and I was coming more and more at face with my own, you know, selfishness, my sinfulness, just the part of me that's just like, there's this evil in me that says, screw everybody else. I'll just consume all for myself. And I hurt people, and I hurt myself, and I was getting sick of it. And when I, had heard that, it's not just about doing right and wrong, and not just about religious observance, but that you could have a living active relationship with the person of Jesus and have him come into your life. It's like, I want this. And I had had enough of doing things my own way at that point. I asked him to come into my life. I chose to turn away from my sin, and he met me, and he really did come into my life. And I first I did sense a real clear, it was a spiritual experience of being cleansed and forgiven of my sins. But as I've learned to walk with him over the years, it's gotten stronger and stronger, and he makes himself real to me in so many ways. And I just want to invite you to do the same thing. Maybe that's going to be your Christmas present this year, is receiving God's present of Jesus into your life. um, you can do, really what I said. You can walk through those steps of just choose to turn away from your sin and believe that he is alive and he loves you and he wants to forgive your sins, and then ask him to come in and make himself real to you. I invite you to do that. That would be just the beginning. And then, just write to me, and I'll be happy to give you some additional guidance and maybe help you grow in that. Again, it's askpete@petecoaching.com. Might be the best thing that you do this your whole life. It certainly was for me. But again, leaning into your own personal brokenness. Okay, when things don't go right, they're oftentimes a clue. There's something not right. Go deeper to the source and figure out what it is. Don't try to cover these things over. Don't try to medicate them. Don't try to distract yourself or anesthetize. When there's signals that something's broken, lean into it, investigate, find out what's wrong. At our core, we've got all these signals that are telling us Something's wrong inside of you. You know you are not doing the right thing. Jesus came to take care of that. So that's just, again, I invite you to press in on that. Hey, I hope this episode was helpful. Again, I'm going to recap the different items we covered. When you're feeling like, oh man, what happened to my life? I had hopes and dreams, and I am not living that anymore. My life sucks. Maybe you're thinking that, or you just want more, and you know you were meant for more. You were born for greater things. Update your dreams so that you now that you understand life better. Second, separate your desire from the object of your desire. Third, accept your limitations, and along with that, you're going to need other people to help you in your areas of limitation. Fourth, partner up with a professional coach. Fifth, practice thankfulness. Okay, you're not entitled, and beware of self-pity. They will destroy your life. Sixth, serve other people. Okay, it's not all about you. And seventh, let this feeling remind you of your own personal brokenness, your need for a savior, and that go to God to let him cleanse you from your sin and give you a new life. He really will give you a new nature. Okay, our quote for that, I hope this was helpful for you. Our quote for the day to wrap up, to repeat that: our greatest fear should not be the fear of failure, but of succeeding at something that doesn't really matter. Hey, I want to thank you all for tuning into Dynamic Destiny Radio. As we start to say goodbye to 2019 and welcome 2020, our next show is actually going to be on New Year's Day on 2020. I really hope you tune in. But most of you will have the day off, and we're going to do things a little differently because I'll tell you what, resolutions stink. Nobody holds on to them, and they're really actually wind up being depressing. We're going to do things a different way. We're going to show you how to set some goals in better ways so you don't get discouraged, and so you hit your goals more often. Really powerful stuff. I had a wonderful time. I hope you did too. Please join me every other Wednesday at noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Pacific. Remember, you really are God's gift to the world. So we need you to be your best version of you that you can be. Bye-bye. See you next time.